everybody, so we are now approaching runway 24 as you can see, so we're going to start doing our takeoff checks now, or before takeoff checks. So it's actually pretty simple, doesn't take too long. Landing lights all need to come on, and also our strobe lights. So as you can see now I've got them on nav, so they're not flashing. Just go around this corner and we'll quickly do it. We'll stop here and I'll do it all. So just stop here, there we go. To get on to the strobe lights, here it says position, strobe and steady. You want to flick it to the upright positions. There's 1, 2, 1, 2. The one right at the top, there's 2 switches there, or 3 in total really. So that's what you want to do there. We want to click now weather, so weather radar can come on, weather and turbulence, and now we have activated the weather radar. TARA is what we want for the TCAS now. We're now ready for takeoff. So we're gonna get going, a bit more thrust. We're gonna taxi onto the runway. Bit of a hill to climb up here. As you can see, the strobes are now flashing on the ground, which is what you want. Here we are, runway 24. Hold it here, and we're going to start the clock. So down here, to start the clock, to basically time the flight, you want to press just under this ET button here. Click that, as you can see the clock has now come on. We are good for takeoff, so we're going to take it nice and steady. What I like to do first is arm the auto thrust, and we're going to go to 50%. So wait to spill up to 50. Sounds stable to me, and then there's a little button here. Click this button, and the aircraft will take over the auto thrust. There we go. So 80 knots checked, and there's our V1 and rotate. So gently just pull back on the throttle yoke, sorry, and there we have takeoff. So gear up. So now the gear will come up as well. Now it's up to you how much manual flying you wish to do, but as you can see I'm currently manually flying it. And what we'll do is follow your flight director. So as you can see we have a left turn out of here. That noise you can hear is the trim wheel just readjusting. There we go. Start to straighten up. And now is a good time to start popping in the autopilot. So what you want to do is just completely relax off of the yoke like that. Press Command A over here, and then VNAV and LNAV has been taken over. So Command A is essentially the autopilot system itself. We're going to switch to standard. Once you see this here, as you know, it said transition altitude was 6,000. Once you see this in a yellow box, just click standard, and then we're now set to standard pressure, which is about 1013. Over here you can see our flaps. So when it says 1, we know that we can reduce the flaps to flap 1. So let's do that now. So now flaps can be brought up to 1, and then with the up button here, when the speed reaches up, you can then bring in all the flaps. Also, one thing you want to do now is you can disarm the auto brake, switch it to off, and in terms of the gear you want to put it to the off and locked position, like so. So now the gear is off and locked. Perfect. Okay, so yes, VNAV and LNAV is now taken over the aircraft. If we just see, as you can see I'm not doing that, the aircraft is doing itself, the vertical path and also horizontal. Beautiful, beautiful views here, isn't it? Lovely. Okay, so now we're at 10,000 feet. At 10,000 feet, we do our 10,000 feet checks. So landing lights can come off, like so. Runway turn off and taxi lights can also come off. And these engine start switches can come back to the off position now. As well as that, seatbelt signs can also be switched to off. just like that. Bam. And everybody, that is the first bit of the tutorial. I say first bit, it's like the third bit really. Let's bring up the flaps now. As you can see, the flaps can come up because the speed's increased. Perfect. Okay, so I will not see you now until we start planning for the arrival into Bristol. There's nothing else you really have to do. The aircraft kind of flies on its own now as autopilot is set. I'm trying to think of anything else, but there's not anything else. Yeah, so I'll see you all for planning for the arrival, which is where we've got to go to FMC and start planning a few bits and bobs. But until then, I'll see you in a bit. Back to the flight deck. So we're going to start planning for the arrival now into Bristol. Now this is usually quite a quick process, so it shouldn't take too long. The way to know when to start planning for arrival is essentially when you see this TD. Oh, let me get my camera views right. When you see TD in green here, T/D, it means top of descent. Now top of descent is where the aircraft will start descending. As you see, it was within about 80 nautical miles, so it's quite a good time now to start planning for the arrival into Bristol. We have a lovely tower wind of 58 knots, so we're getting pushed quite fast down to our destination, which is also quite nice. So over to the left FMC, this is the only one you need. You're going to go to this button here which says departure arrival. Now clicking this button here, as you can see, Echo Golf Golf Delta, which is Bristol. We are arriving at Bristol, so we're going to be clicking this one here, Bristol arrival. There we go. Now this is a bit where we need to find out what runway is currently active at Bristol. So if we head back to Sim Toolkit Pro and we go to the we go down here to what we've done before. If we type into the Meta Echo Golf Golf Delta, click Meta here, as we can see the winds are 210 at 7 knots. So if we head back to our FMC, if the winds are at 210, really we want ILS 27 for arrival. So ILS 27, we click that, and ILS is a instrument landing system where the plane basically can glide itself and auto land the aircraft onto the runway, which is a nice touch, isn't it? Heading over now to our SimBrief flight plan. Like I said before, I was talking about the star. Now, as you can see here, let me get the right view up for you. As you can see here, this is our route. I said this was the SID, our departing SID, and this was the star, our arriving star into Bristol. So now we're on the FIFA 1 Bravo. So if we head back into our FMC here, FIFA 1 Bravo is right here. Click that, and then as you can see, we can have a white light above the execute button. We're going to click execute. Go to the routes page now, so not the routes page, the legs page. And as you can see, we have now a lot more waypoints. That is our arrival into Bristol. So going to the next page here, you might see this every time you plan an arrival. A few white boxes and then route discontinuity and then another waypoint. Looking at our flight plan here, if we just go to the plan page, oh jeez, plan page, and if we just reduce that a bit, we go to step. As you can see here, there's a slight discontinuity. Let me quickly just show you. So after here, Pegso then Brinib. Yeah, you see there's a discontinuity here, and it's like, oh well, how are we gonna get from there to there, blah blah blah. So what we want to do is you want to click CF27 like so, and you're gonna pull it in this then box. So bam, and execute. As you can see, everything is now aligned up and everything will be perfect on arrival. So go back to the legs page. As you can see here now, this is our full list of arrivals into Bristol with our flight level restrictions as well. So when you have a dash and flight level 350 or dash flight level 271 or 1700, as you can see here, you will see that is altitude restriction. Step is to do the init ref page, and this is the approach reference. So this is everything that we kind of need to put into our system in order to make sure we actually arrive onto the correct runway. Now over here, as you can see, it says flap 40 and then a speed next to it. This is what you want to put in flap/speed. So we're going to click flap 40/114 and we're going to pop that into this box here. So we know that we're going to be landing today with flaps 40 and speed 114 plus 5 knots. So the final landing speed today is going to be 119 because we need to add 5 knots onto the final landing speed in order for wind. So that's that basically. The next step over here is ILS and course. So we're going to head up here, and then as you can see, the course said 267. So we're going to pop this in the course bit here up to 267. Like so. And then down here says ILS27, and that is the ILS frequency, which is 110.15. So coming down here, this little second nav system down here is the ILS frequency. So as you see on standby, we want 110.15. And we can leave that on standby for now. We don't need to switch it in until it's actually needed, which is not just yet. But this is the ILS frequency. So as you all know, the ILS frequency is kind of demonstrated here already. These dots here and these dots here, there's going to be like a little diamond. So a little purple diamond is going to be placed on both of these, and it will basically guide you into the runway, making sure that you are, if it's in the middle here and in the middle here, it means you're dead on the runway. If it's a bit to the left or a bit to the right, or to the bit up, to the bit down, usually means you're too far left, too far right, too high or too low. So at all times you really want to keep it in the centre of both, but we'll get to that when the time arrives. Now what I like to do is set my MCP up. As you can see, 12% is a bit closer now. I like to set my MCP on the altitude down to 10,000 feet as initial descent. And then once you set this to 10,000, the aircraft's not going to descend yet, don't worry, it will stay exactly where it is. But once you set to any altitude below 330, the aircraft will start to descend the second it reaches this green T/D, which is top of descent. So second we reach top of descent, the aircraft will start to bring us down in accordance and in line with the flight plan, and then we just have to sit and wait until we're next needed. Yeah, apart from that, nothing else to really say. I'll see you all once we start descending.